Hi, welcome. So, I want to talk today a little bit about isolation when it comes to narcissistic abuse. So, one of the tactics that the narcissist uses as a form of abuse and control is isolation. So, when the narcissist isolates you from your friends or your family or your support system or other people, what's happening is this is a way that they can more easily brainwash you because the only words that are going into your mind that are manipulating the way you think are theirs. So, you don't have the people to say it to challenge your thoughts, to challenge the things that the narcissist is saying to you. Like, well, that doesn't sound right. Or I don't like the way that they are treating you. Those kind of things. So to keep you isolated keeps you vulnerable. It keeps you weak. And that way they can keep tabs on you and keep control over you. They don't want you to have friends. Friends are empowering. Friends are supportive. They don't want you to have that support system to help leave them if you want to leave them. So in the narcissistic abuse cycle, you see that in the beginning, they're very supportive and loving. They give you attention. They have this mask on. But as they start to let the mask down, they start to control you. So at first, this control is covert. It might not be something like, you can't go out with your friends, or no, you can't go with your mom. It's like, you always choose your friends over me. Or maybe they'll go the opposite route where instead of whining, it's like, oh, well, I was gonna like cook you dinner and do all these things. So they're like conditioning you that you will be rewarded if you don't go out. Or they're conditioning you that you will be punished if you do. So this is operant conditioning, when you use positive and negative reinforcement on somebody else's behavior. So the narcissist might not be aware of classical and operant conditioning, but that's what they're doing, okay? So you eventually begin to start to associate things in your mind. You will feel a sensation in your body eventually over time when your friends ask you to go out. You might not be able to pinpoint that where that sensation is coming from. Like, well, they're going to be mad or they're going to yell at me. You just know it's going to be a headache. Say you do go out with your friends. They want to call and fight with you about a comment that you made last Tuesday, or that the bed wasn't made, or that you're never home for dinner. It won't be about your friends necessarily. Sometimes it will. It depends on the narcissist. But it might just be about something else altogether. But either way, you know it's embarrassing every time you go out with your friends. It's a headache. It's just not worth the hassle. So that is one tactic that the narcissist uses against you. If you want information on more of the tactics, I have this available on my website. It's standcoaching.com. So this has 26 different tactics, an overview of each of them. Where's the chart? With the little chart. So on this chart, you're going to find what it is, why they do it, how it's done, and how it hurts. So I'll give you an example. Isolation. What is it? Isolation is a tactic where the abuser systematically cuts off the victim from their support network, making them more vulnerable and dependent on the narcissist. Why do they do it? The narcissist uses isolation to gain and maintain control over the victim by removing external influences that could challenge their power or authority. How it's done. Limiting the victim's access to outside support and creating dependence on the narcissist. For example, by discouraging the victim from spending time with friends and family. Insisting on controlling all aspects of their social life. And finally, how it hurts. Isolation can hurt the victim by causing them to feel trapped, alone, and unable to escape the abusive relationship, leading to increased feelings of anxiety and depression. So you'll get an overview of all 26 tactics in this book. So if you want that, head over to my website, go to the link in my bio, all the information's there. So now I'm going to open up the floor to questions. And for those of you that are just joining, I'm Catherine Kleiss. I'm a coach in the field of narcissistic abuse recovery. I work to empower victims and arm them with the knowledge that they need to not allow the brainwashing and control. Because once you suspect that you're being manipulated, you're harder to manipulate. It's just a fact. So it's really important that you understand all of these common tactics that someone will use to brainwash you. Replacing your values, isolation, fear, control, anger, all of those things. Gaslighting, we all know that one. How can I let go of him Or is it possible for him to get better? He says he wants to take domestic violence classes and do a lot more to win me back. So, how you can let go of him is you have to make that decision for yourself when you're ready to let go. And then at that point, it's going to come to a place of distancing yourself from them and working on your own healing journey and distracting yourself with, okay, think about how much energy we put into another person and their healing and their change and their growth and their career and their energy and getting them and their habits correct. What if you put all that energy to yourself? Okay, so that's how you let go of someone. I think it's great that he wants to take domestic violence classes. Probably should. Does that mean that you have to stay through his healing? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was going to say if it was me, but no, I wouldn't do this either. I would say if it was me, I would be like, check back in with me in a year or two. But honestly, I wouldn't either, because the second you abuse me, you're no longer allowed access to me ever again. Please fix yourself for the world. Fix yourself for your relationships. Fix yourself for your future partners. But it ain't me. So the fact that he wants to take domestic violence classes leads me to wonder if he's been violent with you. So when your intimate loved one is violent with you, it causes like a lot of low self-esteem, which is probably why you're asking in the first place, like, you know, like entertaining if he can change or win you back. The second someone puts your hands on you, they're dangerous. Like, that's not okay in any world. It's just not okay. And that's going to leave you with scars, emotional scar, physical maybe. Some people come to me with physical, lifelong injuries that cannot be cured. Like, they will be there forever. That pain, the metal in their eye socket. So it's not okay. Do narcissists always isolate? I think that it depends on the level of isolation. So they might not fully isolate you from every single person, but they might start to isolate you systematically one by one. So who is the biggest threat to your empowerment? That's the first person that's got to go. So I'm going to tell you right now, when my friends get in abusive relationships, that fucking man, it's always like they have a problem with our friendship, because I will empower my friends and I have expectations of my friends, right? To be allowed to have relationships outside of the romantic relationship. And the narcissist doesn't like that. So once they get rid of that friend, then maybe it's the sister, right? Then maybe it's your mom doesn't support us. I just don't understand why they don't support our relationship. We are puppets on their string. So I believe that it's like the control thing. Well, my partner doesn't tell me what I can or cannot do. Okay. Maybe not overtly, but in a coercive way they do, right? Like in a covert, coercive way that you can't see. So yeah, like, well, I'm allowed to have relationships, and it's like, okay, on a short leash, once a month? Or are you free to like do what you want and like hang out with your friends and go get lunch? Or is it like, oh, you don't need to hang out with your friends that much? They always have something to say. So they have severe control issues. Thank you for these lives, all your posts. I'm officially working on my own healing and breaking the trauma bond. Can we get a clap in? Let's get some claps over here and celebrate that. But it's like he knows, and he is putting the mask on. Oh yeah, super intuitive. They're going to put that mask back on, try and win you back. Thank you for being helpful. Thanks for helping me have the courage to end the relationship. Now I'm trying to get out of the house. He's not being cooperative, so I can get off the mortgage. Do you have experience with this? I don't have personal experience with this. Well, that's not true either. I did have an abuser that wouldn't leave the house. So this would be good to bring into a coaching session with me, because I can't give a general answer, because it's like, are you married? Is the name in your, so first of all, if you're not married, whose mortgage is it, right? Like, is it your mortgage? And then we need to start beginning a legal process of getting him removed from the home, and like a restraining order. Or are you both on the mortgage? In which case, and it sounds like you want him to sign it over. So sometimes they don't have a say. They'll just prolong it. Like, you're going through the paperwork and then they ignore it, but they have 30 days to respond. And then they ignore that, and after 30 days. So it just might take time, but you don't need their cooperation. That's the thing. There are ways around their cooperation, and you just have to find them. And usually it's legal. You have to go and call some of your resources that are more knowledgeable in the legal field of the state that you're in, right? Because some states will have like, well, you have to be living separate for 30 days before we can exude someone from the house, or whatever it is. Like, it depends on your state. So you want to find the answers to those. What if now he wants to get begged, and now it looks like I'm the one who doesn't want to try? Who cares what it looks like to other people? You're going to probably have other people's opinions that are mistaken, but that's not your business. What other people think isn't your business. How other people view the situation isn't your business. They are being lied to, manipulated, or they're blind, or whatever. You know the truth, and that's all that matters. So you got to be confident with yourself. You got to be okay being alone before you go out, because this journey's lonely. I'm not going to tell you it's not. If you have one good person, that is all you need. If you don't have one good person, find one good person, find community, find a coach, find a group, something. Who cares what other people think? I know that's hard to hear, and I know that we all do on a level, but you have to develop that tougher skin. And I'm going to tell you, in my personal experience, I've left relationships with abusers, and the smear campaign was real, and I was not going to play into it. Like, the people that want to believe him, first of all, the truth will come out, because 10, 20, 30 years, you're still a fucking idiot. You're still abusing women. You still have failed relationships. You're still getting into trouble. Whatever. And I'm just consistently growing and healing and thriving and being kind to the world and doing what I can to contribute to my community and society. And that's all I have control of. And if you can't see that and you want to believe I'm a bad person, then I don't want to be your friend. You welcome. How to emotionally overcome the narcissistic person and avoid and distance the narc. So your second question answers the first. So avoid and find distance to emotionally overcome them. So what's happening is the trauma bond. So you're going to want to work on breaking the trauma bond. I have a 28-day course to help you break the trauma bond. Other than that, when it comes to distancing yourself, you want to try and create distractions, find new hobbies, find ways to fill your time that you would otherwise be obsessing over them or hanging out with them. Like, oh, we used to love going to the opera together on Sundays. So now on Sundays, I'm going to pick up a dance class. Or now on Sundays, I'm going to go to church, right? Like, you're becoming aware of those obstacles and you're replacing them. You're becoming aware of the barriers and you're replacing them. So you want to make sure that you are like, you're not making it harder for yourself to remain no contact. Like, you're looking at their social media. Are you doing this? Set yourself up for success. If you want to start running in the morning, what are some things you could do? You could put your running shoes by the door. You could have your playlist set. You could have your running gear all set up, right? You could set that alarm. All of the things. You could go to bed early. Set yourself up for success with going no contact with the narcissist. What are some things you could do that make it harder for you to start running? So don't do those things. Look at your relationship like this. What's getting in the way and what's making it harder for me? And then how can I change that? Well, every time I look at this room, I think of this time. Okay, rearrange the room. Buy a new candle. Move that picture. Take the picture off the wall. Change their contact picture. Change their contact name. You gotta stop. Amen. You can file partition action and force the sale of the house in court if you're both on the deed. Thank you, Christina. After 6 years of no contact, he's still hunting me down. Psychopaths. Fucking psychopaths. I hear it. What if I want to get isolated? Like, would that be considered as enabling their narcissistic behavior? Yes. Yes. I think you should do some soul searching and figure out why you are why you are accepting, why being isolated by somebody in your mind communicates they value me and care about me and love me and they value me so much. Maybe your dad isolated your mom. Maybe you've been in a series of relationships that way. Maybe you saw something on TV growing up in Disney movies that made you believe that was romantic. Okay, and then you want to start teaching yourself a new way that is healthy. Like the definition of healthy. Like Google the definition of healthy relationships. I'm not just making things up and trying to tell you that this is healthy. Like it's written. This is healthy. This is unhealthy. So if somebody actually values you, they want you to have relationships, friendships, success, they'll support you in your life. Okay, that's very different than if you're an introverted homebody. Like you can do that if you want. Like that's fine. But if you are telling yourself like, oh, they control me because they love me, that's not love. That's not love. Somebody or something put that belief in your head. I find that even though I now recognize that I was married to a narcissist, I so have a hard time identifying these methods. I just recently realized this isolation. How can you identify quicker? Learning the tactics. I pick up one of these books or I join my 28-day course. And that will give you an overview of all of these tactics and red flags. And then once you learn them, you can spot them more easily and not only does this go over the tactics and my course go over the tactics, it goes over the cycle. So they wear the mask in the beginning, they force that false connection, and then they begin the devaluation, conditioning, isolation, right? I'm living through this nightmare. I'm so sorry. But you're going through the divorce. I will ask about the course, sis. Yes, just reach out to me. We'll get you set up. Okay, you've said that so many times. Stop. Just stop. Thanks so much. We're both on the deed. Says he's not making me stay, yet he's dragging his feet. They're liars. Like, they're the epitome of saying something and doing the opposite. Like, I'm not doing this while they're actively doing it. Like, stop going off on tangents in the conversation as they're going off on tangents. Like, absolute epitome of hypocrites and liars. I need to ask myself what's in me that's looking for that kind of relationship. I think you should take to a journal. Ask the journal, why do I like that in my relationship? And then see what comes up. He tried to isolate me from my family and my best friend. It didn't work, but definitely strained those relationships. I've been no contact for a month now, and I'm much happier. But why the fuck is this still so hard? It's gonna be hard because it was abuse, and abuse takes a while to get over. A month is a relatively short amount of time, but I am glad that you're happier. So hold on to that. Like, okay, I am happier. I'm moving in the right direction. You don't have to be at the destination after a month. You just have to be on the path to the destination. Just keep processing and healing. Hi. Mine isolated himself, or so he acted like it, and then blamed me for his choice to isolate himself. That kind of narcissist. Gross. By isolate, I mean he didn't hang out. He supposedly closed his social media. Turns out he blocked me. So I know narcissists that are so clingy, right? It's not just that you can't have friends, they don't have friends either. You're their whole life. You know, you can't do anything. It's all about you. It's so unhealthy. That is not a healthy relationship, you guys. Healing journey is different for everyone. I went back after 8 months because I started to see change, and now I'm back in the twilight zone looking to get out again. Okay, so check that into the memory bank for next time. So you're like, okay, I went back because I saw change, but this was the pattern. It was false change. Then the abuse started. So now when you get out again and you go no contact or you're trying to separate and you feel those inclinations to go back or respond to their message, you're like, wait, I already know this pattern. I know this pattern because I've done it 100 times. Even when I've left for 8 months, it's still the pattern. They don't change. 15 years and I'm working through it. All right, you guys. Thank you for spending this morning with me. I hope you all have a great day. For those of you that are looking for individual or group coaching, please reach out to me. You can go to the link in my profile, grab a time on my calendar, and we can get started working together. If you're in a trauma bond, please check out my 28-day course. You don't have to do this alone. And I'm going to head over to TikTok if anyone wants to join me over there.